All right, all right. Hey guys, welcome back to the Underground and welcome to the second video drop for tonight as I'm still getting ready for PAX East for our 2025 community meetup. Cannot wait to see you guys in less than 24 hours in the flesh. That'll be really, really awesome. And I'm still wearing this army helmet because my beanie is in the washer. That brings us to the second game I wanted to talk about with you guys, and that is, of course, The Midnight Walk by Moonhood Studios. This is the highly anticipated, very creative, completely claymation made video game from Moonhood Studios, like I said. That has been a big one on everyone's radar. And today I'm going to actually be talking about the review of two different versions, not the flat version, because I just don't play flat games anymore. Although if I did, this would probably be one that I would play. Absolutely. But I'm talking about both the PSVR 2 version on PS5, as well as using PSVR 2 on PC. Now, because I did play both versions of that. And so right off the bat, let me tell you a really quick background. I love everything that this game is kind of inspired by, or at least what it reminds me of. I love claymation games. I have a history, decades of history with claymation games. Some of my favorites of all time are Skull Monkeys. I loved Clay Fighter. I loved Armacrog. I'm sorry. I didn't love Armacrog. It was okay, but I was excited about it. But Skull Monkeys is one of my favorite games of all time. And ever since then, like, I've always kind of longed for, another one, or always been interested. I'm also a big fan of, classic Tim Burton, like Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies of all time, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I was just a kid when that came out, and I was like jumping up and down about that. Nobody really seemed to care until Hot Topic came out, and then a lot of people seemed to care, which I was okay with. I was like, finally, this is getting the recognition it deserves, which is cool. I'm okay with that. Good art is good art. But anyways, I digress here. The whole point is that, this game means a lot to me as well. And I've had a slightly different experience with both the versions. Obviously on PCVR, you get super sharp. With my PC, I've got a 4090 now. But you don't need probably a 4090. You probably just need like any VR capable PC for it to look decent enough, because most VR games a lot of them are actually usually pretty well optimized. I've had some lower grade graphics cards and the VR games look really good. You get really sharp, detailed graphics, which is really important for a game that is like 90% the main attraction is the claymation visuals. And then you do get some rumble as well. With the PSVR 2 version on PS5, unfortunately, it takes a little bit of a resolution hit. So I think the resolution is a little bit lower than what is desired. I do think it could be better, but I will say that they did patch it literally hours ago from the time I'm recording this, and they did improve it. Because let me tell you, apparently this was a bug, so I don't know how relevant this information is, but apparently it was a bug that caused the resolution to be really, really bad. I mean, it was bad to the point to where it lost all of the detail, and it was borderline unplayable. I was getting ready to tell you, if you have a PS5 only, to hold off, wait for a patch. And if you have a PC, I was going to say play it on PC for now. The PS5 version does have a couple advantages, though, where it actually uses eye tracking as a gameplay element, because there is stuff where on the PC you press a button to close your eyes and then it lets you have enhanced hearing, or basically you have to be able to like hear certain objects or whatever, or things happening, to be able to, with your eyes closed, to be able to track down where it is. But like I said, here's the thing though. The good news is that they did literally last second, they patched the resolution on the PS5 version. And it still leaves a little bit to be desired. Like I want them to go a little bit more with it because I do think they can. That being said, it is actually playable now. It is acceptable, I would say. The resolution. It's not the greatest, but it's not as awful and loses all the detail like it did prior. So, um, you know, I'm really, really happy that turned out because here's the thing. So I played most of the game on PS5 and I played through the entire thing on PC. And it took me completely taking my time. I mean, really soaking the details in up. It took me about 5.5 hours to complete. And, honestly, for a claymation game, that's kind of like, I think that's pretty solid. I was honestly expecting it to be maybe even shorter just because of, just the amount of work and time and everything that goes into claymation. But surprisingly, there's a decent couple hours to be had here. And this is something that I would like to play over and over again because let me just tell you, this game, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. This is where video games become an art, is stuff like this. This is honestly, I feel like this game is going to be a timeless classic when all is said and done. It's going to be, it's going to be talked about for a while. And if it doesn't get talked about, if it kind of slips away for a while, I feel like this is a game that'll constantly be coming up again. Just like how I still talk about Skull Monkeys from the 90s. I think 20 years from now, people are going to be talking about, the Midnight Walk. But let me just say, I absolutely loved this game, playing from start to finish through on PC, especially. And, it just meant so much to me as a fan of claymation, as a fan of art, as a fan of, like I said, Tim Burton stuff like Beetlejuice and Nightmare Before Christmas and Skull Monkeys. Like, there was a lot riding on this game for me. And I am happy to say that this game completely delivered the experience that I was hoping for. It is heavily story driven or narrative driven. The main character you meet up with is Pot Boy, who you do play in first person, and you do play as a first person character. The burnt one is what you're called, I believe. And then you meet up with Pot Boy, and the way the gameplay actually works is you don't control Pot Boy at all directly. What you kind of do is there's certain parts where there's like puzzles or things that you have him interact with. And so like you'll need to do something like light a candle, and you'll point and click and have him go and light the candle. There's also like a couple other different mechanics that work as well. But in terms of like how the gameplay works, there's a mix of different things. Obviously, it's called the Midnight Walk. A lot of it is kind of like exploring. It's not open like world exploring or anything. It's very linear and story driven, but it has these elements of exploration, discovery. There's some puzzle solving. There's some stealth, and there's some horror, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting this to have as many like horror segments that it does. It's not for the whole game. It's just for a certain couple of parts, but there is like some really tense moments where you're trying to like escape from these horrifying clay creatures, and it can be pretty tense. I don't know if it like scared me, but those that are more sensitive to horror, this will probably be effective enough for them. I didn't think it was terrifying or anything though. I actually thought it was really charming. But it does get kind of intense in a couple parts that may surprise some people. In the trailer, it kind of looked like there was some shooting, and I love the way that the shooting is done with this. It's not a shooter. I would not call it a shooter one bit. But it does have this little like cannon that you grab and you pull and you shoot from. And it's more to kind of like, again, solve puzzles or interact with things. And I really like that because it gives you hey, like this is a shooting mechanic, but it's like, this is not just some like first person shooter. No, this game is very ambitious and is really trying to do all sorts of new things. But dude, the world is amazing. The character designs are amazing. I don't think that there's one character that I didn't just go, man, that is so cool. All the characters look amazing. They all have like voice acting, which is really cool. And yeah, the level designs are both stunning and just super cool as well. Very dark and I don't know, very dark and mysterious, and it is really something special. And the surprising, actually, on a side note, little sidebar here, I was surprised to see, I shouldn't have been surprised, but it did surprise me to see that Olav, who and some of the team that worked on Ghost Giant, which was a game that came out on PSVR 1. They were actually the developers behind this. They're the developers at Moonhood Studio. So that was a huge surprise. It was a shock, but it wasn't like, after I found out, I was like, okay, well, that's not that surprising, because that game was also very heavily narrative driven. Literally like made me shed a tear. It was a beautiful story, really wonderful art design. And a lot of that translates over here. So, but man, this game definitely takes you on, like, it's like a short adventure, like a 5-hour adventure. Like I said, if you're taking your time, but there's some really nice, like wonderful interactions, that you have. It works really well as a VR game, actually. You know, it's not the most like in-depth interactions. But I do think what it does have going for it is very, you can get very immersed in this game, and from both visually and the gameplay. And yeah, it's got this nice mixture of, like I said, horror, stealth, little puzzle solving, interacting with things. And then obviously it's like I said, it's mostly like narrative driven. So you're kind of along for the ride with this story. And man, the sound design in this is also excellent, like superb. I mean, just sit in the main menu. When you get to the main menu, just sit there for a minute and just look at the main menu for a little bit. Maybe not where it says start game, new game, whatever, because that looks blurry and awful, but look around everywhere else and just listen to the music and enjoy it. Because dude, the soundtrack is really, really good. And the sound design is also phenomenal. I mean, the voice acting is like this, where it's like really deep and bassy, and it sounds really damn good. I love it. But yeah, man. So overall, you know, some people, this is the thing, if you have to choose between the two versions, I would say go with the PC version for now, because you get that sharper resolution, you get that higher detail. And that's important for this game. So I would, if you have and dude, oh my God, the OLED, like PSVR 2 on PC, I don't know why this isn't more popular, because it is such a good PC headset. I'm really surprised it isn't bigger than what it is. But those of you that are, do have a PC, dude, like the OLED and the clarity and everything is just magnificent. Now, that being said, if you have the PS5 version, or if you only have a PS5, I would recommend this version as well, but do be warned that the resolution is a little lower than desired. So you can either maybe wait to see if it gets an update, or experience it now, enjoy it, maybe experience it later after an update if they do. But whatever you do, I would not pass on this game. One way or another, you have to play this game. It is really just something different that is not just different for the sake of being different, but also really good and really charming. And this is like something that I would have liked to create when I was a kid. Like, this game really speaks to me in so many different ways. Story-wise, I think it tells a nice story as well. I really love Potboy. Potboy is such a wonderful character. I loved interacting with him. I think all you can really do is just like feed him. Maybe there's some other stuff. You can kind of get him to do some silly things here and there. But I think he's an awesome character. He's not annoying. I loved him. And, there is like an over story to everything that I won't spoil or anything or have any details. What I will say, though, without any spoilers, is that I do think in the third act, some people, it might be a little too artsy for, like it really doubles down on the artsiness towards the end of the game, right before the end. And this might be a little bit much for some people, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was very creative, and it was kind of a throwback to some things. Again, it was like, wow, this is like art within art, within a game. And so it's really wild and really has some like I said, it's just really interesting, which is something you don't hear a lot with a lot of games. Like, they can be fun, which is, usually the priority, but they're not always interesting. And I think at the very least, this game is incredibly interesting. And I do want to kind of revisit it because it is replayable at least once. So you do have a reason to come back as well. But yeah, man, overall, like I said, between the two versions, if you have a PC, I would say go with the PC version. That is really important for that extra resolution. If you have the PS5 version, at least it got patched at launch to where it's better. I mean, and when you jump in there, just imagine it being like twice as worse. And that's what it was before it got patched. And you'll be like, damn, yes, it was bad. It was really, really bad, like almost unplayable. Now it's a little lower res, and it leaves a little bit to be desired, but you still get to see some of the detail that's there. You get to see a lot more of the detail that's there, which otherwise you couldn't see before. And that's super important. You want to see this claymation. It just, don't expect the best clarity. Don't expect the best resolution. It does have like slightly little bit of Mura on the PS5 as well, versus the PC. There was like none. It was super clear, super sharp. Dude, but the OLEDs, I mean, the blacks are inky black, which is really important for this game. And yeah, like I said, combined with that resolution, I think I played it in 3K, honestly. It was awesome though, man. But overall, dude, I love this game. And it's honestly, I'm kid you not, this is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not even joking. It has joined the ranks of Skull Monkeys, which is, again, just like one of my personal favorites. But this is up there. This is, I think, the best claymation game I have ever played. That is 100% fact. Skull Monkeys is great. Clay Fighter was great and everything, but I really think that this is the best one of all. Not that they're competing or anything. They all are, special and should be experienced by everybody. But I think this is just in terms of like quality and gameplay, story, characters, everything. This kind of has it all. Even if it's a little bit of a shorter game at like 5.5 hours, taking your time, it's just something that is just an incredible thing to experience, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, man. On PC, this game was basically like a 10 out of 10 for me personally. If I'm being like super critical, super objective, like, the length of the game and certain things here and there, maybe it's like a 9.5. But it was nothing less than an amazing experience. On PS5, despite even the pre-patch terrible resolution, I still had a hard time dropping this game. Like, I still wanted to play it a good bit. And there's times where it looks better. There's some times where it looks where it looked kind of rough. And then there's some times where it actually still looked really good, even with the lower resolution, maybe because it's such a dark game. I don't know, but kind of hit it well. But dude, I love this game. And, like I said, if you have PC, go pick it up on PC. If you don't have a PC, either go ahead and get it now or wait to see if there's a resolution patch. Maybe you'll get a sale with it around that time as well. But regardless, this is one that everybody should experience in VR. It is super unique, super creative, very cool. If you want to see a game that that really like touches my heart personally, like then I would highly recommend this. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for now. It is time to continue getting ready for PAX East 2025. I can't wait to see you guys there. Actually, by the time this video airs, I might already be in Boston. So I'll see you guys very, very soon. And I'll keep you guys posted with some random videos and updates while we're at PAX. I'll do the best I can to post some stuff. So thank you guys so much as always, and I'll see you on the next video.